Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
And I'm Paul Hankins.
And welcome to On the Air with Power Squared. This week, no guests, just the two of us. And what are we going to talk about?
Issue 13.
That's right. Now, if you remember from a couple of weeks ago, we released issue 12, which was What's Their Name Part 3. And issue 13 sort of picks up where that left off.
That's right.
And in this issue,
immediately where it leaves
yes,
off.
Actually, it's a total continuation. So if you remember the last panel, issue 12, which I'm sure you do, you'll pick up pretty much right when that ended.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about what happens in this issue?
Sure. So generally, what happens is Marty is in a relationship with Quincy as of the last arc. And while the boys struggle with their own relationship, they also have to start dealing with a student who is impersonating them with a special power.
Right. And we call him the Imposter. There you go.
I know, original.
Hey, but actually, I don't think there was anything out there called, any villain called the Imposter, is there?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so.
As far as we know.
As far as we know. So, keep our hear no evil, see no evil kind of deal. So, yeah, he is the Imposter. Now, the character that we set up is Pedro. We never gave him a last name.
No.
He is our first Hispanic character, if that's the right term.
Yeah.
And I think it was a conscious effort by us to add a character of color to the story.
Yeah, more diversify the cast.
Right. So yeah, that was a conscious effort on our part to do that, and I think it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now then, we let Rachel kind of design him.
Yes.
And so he has
like green hair.
Green hair, yeah, which is. You see that more and more than you would think.
Yeah, and to be fair, like when I was in college, there were a lot of people with different colored hair or different hairstyles. I never got the man bun thing though.
No.
Fortunately, none of our characters do that.
No. It's interesting that the hair color is not what you're born with anymore. It's just you can choose anything you want, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Not that I've done that, but you can do that. So that's kind of an interesting twist and something that she picked up. Rachel has pink hair.
Yeah.
So she's picked up on the fact you can do that.
Yeah.
And so she'd add that to the character, which works.
So that means anime hair colors are okay now.
That's right. You can look like your favorite anime character. That's great. So we were talking before that we did this about the writing of this story arc. It's actually two stories, 13 and 14. And we started writing this in 2015.
Yeah.
So you can see how long it takes things to come to fruition. I don't recall anything about the writing of it, really. Beyond writing it. I don't have, what was the idea? But I know we wanted to continue with characters, students, because we set up that Dr. Atlas thinks students can be manipulated.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's telling these teachers. If you remember from issue 1, which I'm sure everybody does, he talks about the college teachers trying to get them to be looking for students that have these powers. And Pedro is somebody that he's had the ability to mimic people, like a lot of people can, and impersonate them, and he's just taken that to the next level.
Yeah.
So that kind of was part of the idea, and we knew that we wanted to continue to finish off the story with Quincy.
Yeah.
Victoria Davidson. I wrote down the name so we had the problem. What were other influences on this?
I remember when we first came up with the concept, not necessarily the exact story or how the power was going to how Pedro's power was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
We happened to have like almost all of the first half of Stardust Crusaders, JoJo Part 3 on Blu-ray, but it was like Japanese only. So I've seen it subbed. I showed you a version without subtitles, but I still knew kind of what was supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It was the episode Yellow Temperance, which has the character Rubber Soul, whose stand is named Yellow Temperance, and he has the ability to change his appearance into anyone. And in that particular storyline, he turned into Kakyoin to mess with the other characters.
Okay. Now,
and of course, his stand could do other things has an attack capability apart from shape-shifting, but the purpose was to look at the shape-shifting.
right, and we also have a character in the story already that can shape-shift.
Yeah.
Mocha. And so I think that was an influence in the story.
Possibly.
Right.
We didn't do I think we just got the shape-shifting part. There was a similar character. There was a character in JoJo with a similar power. Oingo. His stand is Khnum, named after the Egyptian god. And however, he can only change his face and apparently scent.
Right. Okay. Well, in this, Pedro can look exactly like one of the other characters.
Yes.
Which is usually Marty in this case. Now we also brought in something for all you people that really are into Buster Keaton movies. There's a movie called Seven Chances.
Yeah.
Where he has to be married by 7:00, right?
Yeah.
And he's it's known that he's going to inherit all this money if he marries, and so he's at I don't remember exactly how he ends up at a church, but all these potential brides show up.
Yeah.
And they end up chasing him down the street in Los Angeles, and we wanted to have that image was used as a basis for a shot in this comic book.
Yeah.
We have it where a lot of people at school are mad at Marty for all these alleged things he's done.
Yeah.
And they end up chasing after him. So there's this scene, and that was the example we gave to Rachel to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit of everything in there.
If you haven't seen Seven Chances, go ahead and watch it.
Right. Yeah. No, and it's you won't be disappointed, I don't think, unless you just hate silent films, and you shouldn't. So we started writing this in 2015. It's like, I think a lot of these is we started them, put them aside because it took a long time to get issues done at the time.
Yes. And
we came back to it, and probably finished it, kind of polished it in 2018, 2019, and then in 2020 when the actual the work started on it, right?
Yeah.
Then we made some final changes, because a lot of times what we do is with Rachel will change how many panels and move things from page to page sometimes, and we'll try to and our letter will tell you we don't do a good job of that, is capture those changes in a final version of the script.
Yeah.
But apparently I know we don't do a great job of that because I hear about it every so often, which is fine. I mean, so this was also our first issue with Julia Cannon as the colorist.
That's right.
Nina Gaylord had moved on.
Yeah.
How did we find Julia?
Well, during our search for the next colorist, a friend, Kyle, recommended her, so we looked into her
and we
portfolio.
also, and I think we also I think there were some other SCAD people maybe
and other professionals,
right,
that we looked at. and she passed the coloring test.
Right.
And that's how she joined.
And the other good thing is she's local.
Yeah.
And she was, as everybody knows, when we did the signing, and thank you all for showing up, she was there at the signing.
Yes.
So it's good to, even though nothing to do with the issue that we were selling, but it was good to have her there, I think.
Yeah.
And again, I like the fact that she's local.
So when issue 13 comes out, she can finally use Power Squared as an example of a published work.
Right. And we're looking forward to that. As far as when it's going to actually come out, I don't know. My guess is next year, early next year.
Probably early next year at the latest.
Yeah, at this point, part of the timing is they're supposed to be, and again, we haven't talked to them in a little while, we're supposed to be part of an Art Tooth Merit Kickstarter.
Right.
I assume later this fall.
And we don't want to like step on that.
Yeah. So, and then, though this isn't going to really play into when we put it out, Comixology, which has been a platform we've been using, is sort of, I think, kind of becoming Kindle.
Yeah, Amazon is just kind of absorbing them now.
And so I don't know really if it's going to be Comixology on Kindle or, because right now we're on Kindle and Comixology.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to work.
So I think we're basically just waiting to see how other things play out before we decide to launch.
Because they don't take submissions anymore, I don't think.
Right.
So, yeah. So I don't know how that's all going to pan out. I know they send emails, but I don't really know how it's going to impact us. Because they tell you now to submit through Kindle, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So.
But when we find out, we'll tell you.
Sure. And if you already know, tell us.
Yeah.
There you go.
Please.
So this was, again, you and I wrote it.
Yeah.
You edited it, right?
Yeah.
And then Rachel drew it, Julia colored it, and Trevor did the lettering.
Yes.
So it's kind of a collaborative effort. And I like the idea that we work with Rachel on changing things around occasionally.
Yeah.
Because she has actually this degree in sequential storytelling that we don't have.
Yeah.
So it's really good. All right.
Are there any other aspects of the issue you want to bring up?
Well, I had all these notes that we're not using, but it's fine. No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, I know this was a short one, but hopefully a good one. And if you are watching this on YouTube and you liked it, leave a like and consider subscribing and ringing that bell.
All right. So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
And I'm Paul Hankins.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.